Get all the love and support. Looking forward to this show. We're going to be talking Destiny 2 at length, but really the history of Destiny.
Oh my God,
so a lot of Destiny 1 stuff will be included, where the game's been, what it's doing, and where it's going. I hope you guys enjoy it. So Warframe, I'm sure with Grimlock here, some Warframe conversation is going to come on. I don't have the expertise in Warframe, so I could not compare the two. I'll leave that to Grim. This is why we do panels. You guys ready to do this?
oh my God, he's so
Me too.
goddamn cool.
Let's do this thing!
I can drop a super and clear stuff out. Yeah.
Welcome in, my friends. Welcome in. We're doing another exciting.
Let him come down to
episode
you a
of
little bit, though.
Crossing the line,
Yeah.
where we're going to push some boundaries. We're going to talk about some things that people don't want to talk about. We're going to have a beach ball starting off the party. I love this. You guys are absolutely smashing it.
I'll do the same thing on the
Got
right.
this deception.
So today, Destiny, where
I'll
it
do the
is,
same on the
I've got
right.
this
been,
buddy.
where it's going.
I know.
What the hell is it doing? I can't even tell. Like today,
Tell her
Black
it's my
Armory
fault.
comes out. Black Armory, the new
Very sorry.
Taken. And I could
blame it
not,
on
for
the
the
email.
life of me, find a place to purchase the annual
That as
pass.
well.
It took us,
The
what,
EMU Overlord
15
said you
minutes
must
to find.
finish.
You had to go through hoops and barrels to find the
She'll
annual pass.
understand.
It's just a minor frustration.
Understand.
Frustration.
I appreciate you.
But let's be real, a lot of us play, a lot of us love it. I can
Got you,
Britt.
Britt.
Complain about Bungie and all that as much as I want. That remains the same. I love the game. I love the content of the game. I love the community.
I got a Friday, Graham.
I love meeting people because of Destiny, and that's something that's we're going to tie together today with my guests, Toucan Gaming, with GrimlockePrime, and with JJtheMachine. Well, but the one you
Got to use my super.
one at a time. Oh wait, I guess I have to.
All right.
The table on this
No
channel.
one
So,
died.
let's just do this one at a time.
We did it.
Let's talk about you, your channel, what you're Destiny, what you're not doing with Destiny.
Where's that
whatever the
seasoning?
case might be. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I am GrimlockePrime, part of the streamer here on Mixer, also part of Warframe and Discord,
Son.
CGN. I
Access.
stream a variety of games. I was originally a Destiny 1 streamer over on Twitch for a long time, and when Destiny 2 came out, I played it for about 4 months and said, screw it. I am not happy with this. I felt betrayed by Destiny, specifically in the way Activision pushed the game forward in a direction that didn't benefit the players in any way, shape, or form. I've only recently started playing it again, though.
And how's the experience playing it again? Like taking a break? I know you're really upset at Destiny 2's launch, but then took a long break.
I didn't play it until people dog-eared me and browbeat me and peer pressured me into giving it another try.
Which brings us to Troy.
Yeah.
Troy, tell us about you, you badgering bastard.
Okay, so I'm Troy 84, aka Toucan Gaming. I've no-lifed Destiny for quite some time now. However, I did get disenfranchised with the game around the dawning during Destiny 2 and came back just at the start of Warmind, because I was badgered to come back by Rhino because he said the game had changed. And it had changed, but not like completely. But when Forsaken dropped, it really brought back a passion for the game. And a lot of people know that I didn't actually play Destiny 1. So my Destiny history is Destiny 2. I don't know Destiny 1. I will be delving into it at some point. I've learned some bits through people going on about different things like the Galahorn, Vault of Glass.
Oh, that fun stuff.
Sorry. When you do that, we're co-streaming that.
So that'll bring us. Let's go full circle to JJ, because JJ of the four of us is probably the lifer, the most passionate about the game, the guy who's. So JJ, tell us about you and Destiny and where it's taking you.
Yeah, so I've played Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, like from the beta of Destiny 1 up until now, thousands of hours. The only time when I was probably the most disenfranchised and put it down was after the Dark Below, so like early on.
Yeah.
But I suffered from abysmal RNG in the beginning. Like it was impossible for me to get leveled up to level 30 because out of the first 10 Vault of Glass raids I did, I got one piece of armor and that was it. And I was like, well, I'm never getting leveling up, so I just gave up. And then after like 6 months, I came back, and it's like never been a week that I wasn't playing Destiny. Okay. Pretty much. So I probably
got the ins and outs of all of the updates and all of the gripes and griefs that have happened.
Yeah, every patch, everything. I've been there for every minor change here and there, and every major one. And I've probably streamed Destiny on Mixer more than any other person because of how just the sheer number of hours that I play it. You're always streaming.
Playing Destiny. Every time I turn it on, like if I catch you, it's occasion. I think I caught a drunk stream of you doing one of the party games, Jackbox, one of those Jackbox. It was the new one, the one that just came out. But I think that's the only time I've seen you not playing Destiny. I think that's it. But for me, it's a little different. I started in on Destiny 1. I didn't do the beta or anything. I just played vanilla. I did none of the expansions. I had heard about Dark Below. See, I wasn't there. I as soon as Dark Below and House of Wolves was around, like I was already gone. Like I was already bored with the farming of Destiny. And then Taken King, I had bought myself a PlayStation 4, the Taken King edition. Started playing on PS4 again for a little bit. But then got bored again, and then moved on to Xbox One with Rise of the Machine. Like right after Rise came out, started playing again. And I was very lightly playing. When Destiny 2 hit, though, we were really at the end of Rise, and we were playing a lot of Crucible, trying to get hyped for the new game. I mean, we were even creating music videos just to try and generate hype for the new game. And it was a blast. For the first 8 weeks, I had a really good time in Destiny 2. Got a little kind of clunky and a little bored, and then Curse of Osiris was the worst I've ever felt about ever in the history of the series. Curse felt awful. I felt Destiny ripped me off. So I walked away for about 6 months. Came back a month after Warmind came out, and I've been playing it pretty steadily since. I was a little heartbroken about Forsaken at first, but once you got over that level grinding hump, I've been thrilled with Forsaken since with everything since then. So that's kind of where I stand on the game. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the early issues that happened with Destiny 1, particularly in the vanilla. There was a lot of complaining about over farming and gear rolls and kind of the lack
loot cave.
the loot caves, that stemmed from a problem with lack of loot in the entirety of the game.
Yes.
So people had to go search out those loot caves to even get the loot that they wanted to get. Exotics were so hard to get in the first run of Destiny Vanilla. Yeah, Osiris, yeah. See? Did you make it through Osiris, Blades? Did you make it through Osiris? Yeah, Osiris was dreadful. But we'll come back to Destiny 2. Let's hit the D1 train though. So how did you guys like? What was Destiny's initial impression on it? We'll go to Grimlock, same order.
So I did the alpha and the beta for Destiny, and
for those that don't know, like alpha required PlayStation.
Yes.
Like that's the only way to
alpha required PlayStation. It did, and I borrowed one to play it. You know, I borrowed it. I was like, Bud, you need to lend me this now. I've got access to this. And he's like, yeah, sure. And he lent it me. So I played. I no lifed it. Clocked 167 hours in the entire Alpha series. So I was on every single ring of the Alpha series. I did the whole thing.
Okay.
I sweated it out for the 4 months it was available. 4+ months it was, and then it went dark, and then they came back with the beta, had made a lot of improvements, and then when Destiny came out, initially I was like, where's all the stuff that we had in the alpha? Where's all the stuff we had in the beta?
So what was missing?
Where's it
like
gone?
what specifically do you remember was missing from alpha beta to launch?
Alpha, a lot of story. The game completely changed night and day.
Yep.
Big difference. Due to the fact that they had that issue with one of the writers resigning because Activision didn't like the route they were taking, that he was taking the story, because it was too dark and it was not accommodating for their Call of Duty mainstream audience. So he said, look, I was given free reign to create a story, create an epic story. This is what I've been given. This is what my contract entails. Don't like it, I can walk. And he walked. And then we had this hodgepodge story that was mashed together by 5 separate writers in the space of 6 months. And it was mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And
that was a complaint. Early on, there was a lot of complaints about the story being too short. Yes, my personal opinion for a shooter game,
the story was moved over to the lore because of the fact that they had to rush it.
Right. But, well, a lot of that comes into a whole different thing with gaming narrative. Games are going anymore. How much is too much? I mean, because like big fans of any game are going to want more. Give us more. Give us more. Give us world building. Give us more.
Yes.
More. I've always kind of come from I come from more of a Halo background. Right? You do your campaign. Yes. It's about 20-25 hours at most, and then the rest of it's multiplayer. The rest of it's just go do stuff, right? And the fact that Destiny, what appealed to me about Destiny as more of a casual gamer than the hardcore lore gamer, was that I could do a campaign. There was a story, good or bad, it was there. And then I got to do not only the multiplayer stuff with my friends, but then there was also PvE elements, and then we got Vault of Glass, which to me was a huge game changer in the world of first-person shooters.
Yes, it was. It did set an entirely new precedence within the first-person shooter genre to have these big co-op events where you are working together to take down a boss. It was reminiscent of the MMOs, which is what inspired it. Destiny was inspired by the likes of Warframe. Warframe was one of the biggest inspirations that Bungie had for their game. You know? And it's I can see you, you know.
What do you mean?
Was Warframe around when they were making?
Yes.
Yeah. Destiny. Warframe has been around for over 5 years.
Right. So Warframe and Destiny had similar production time.
I was going to say it wasn't.
Warframe was actually
at least been started before then.
Warframe was actually under development around the same time as Destiny 2's announcement, or Destiny 1's
Warframe
announcement.
had an alpha that ran for a year prior to Destiny even being in development, and when it was in beta for 18 months. So its technical full lifespan is over 7 years.
Mm-hmm. So
it's coming close to a full of almost 8 years if you want to get technical.
Right. One thing that, especially about Destiny, also, one of the first things that I noticed was, when Destiny came out, I had this MMO feel, right? Like that's what I was clamoring for, because I had come from MMOs and Halo. That's basically how I spent my 2000s, was various Halo games and MMOs. And then Destiny offered the hybrid, right? And we got it. And when we got Vault of Glass, it felt good. It felt, this is what a raid should feel like. Like this, if you take an MMO raid and port it into a shooter, it feels good. It's not a matter of House of Wolves. Where it fell short in the MMO department is what Warframe does a little bit more correctly, which is assigning skills, having stats that matter. Because really in Destiny 1, as far as I can remember, the only stat you gave a crap about was, can I have more discipline so I can throw my grenades faster?
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything else. It didn't matter the class. And
weapon stats there were weapon stats.
Weapon stats matter.
Armor stats were only
right, your character stats
were only those 3 stats.
And technically it wasn't even the stats, it was the perks.
Right.
Which is the thing. It's always,
the stats matter, the range and the fire rate and all that stuff. It matters to some minor degree, but really, there's.
But it really doesn't. If you look
in
at
Destiny 1, it did not. In Destiny 1, it did not. If you look at the correlation
in Destiny 1 and their guns and the way they fight in an open world environment.
All the auto rifles were the same. It was just a different sound effect.
And there was only a slight variation between each one, and it was their fire spray rate pattern.
Yeah.
For example, the hard light, it went up and to the right, and with another one, it went up and to the left, or it did this small concentric circles.
Sure. Yeah. But the point was, but the guns didn't feel different. If you the types of guns felt different. Like if you're using a hand cannon, you're using a hand cannon. Those felt like it's a different gun. But the disparity between the guns in the individual classes, there wasn't a lot, and
wasn't any.
It wasn't
just a big fail.
It wasn't until you got into the exotic class weapons where you were like, "Wow, this gun's way different." Which it should be. It's your top tier. You can only equip one of these. This is what you get. It should feel different. But inside of the legendary class, inside of the rare blue class, it didn't matter to me. I didn't care. Like those minor rolls didn't really affect my ability to complete Vault of Glass, which at the time was the hardest tier thing. I could beat that. Now, if I wanted to min-max myself for Crucible, I cared a little bit more about my stats because I wanted that one less shot against my opponent when we're going against each other with the same auto rifle.
Exactly.
Yeah, PvP is where the stats were way more important.
Yes, that is the only place it ever mattered when it came to the stats. Anything.
See, but this is where, for me, Destiny 1 wasn't attractive to pick up at all. Because I looked at it, I hadn't seen it. There was an Irish guy, he was a reviewer for the games, and he turned around and said, playing Destiny 1 was like playing Farmville for shooters. Everything's the same.
That for me was the biggest problem. That really shined in the classes. The difference between the Warlock, the Titan, and the Hunter. Aesthetically, they were different. Their jumps were different. Their grenades, fine, small variants. But they didn't feel like separate, unique classes. Like the Hunter was this set dude, has this set... The lack of role, really, is something that even Destiny 2 is just now getting around to. Now the Warlock feels like a support class. Now the Titan feels like the heavy hitter damage class that it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be a damage tank.
Right. And the Hunter feels evasive and feels like a different kind of damage dealer. They're just now curtailing that in, year 5?
But the thing is, even their classifications between the characters aren't correct. Calling the Warlock a Warlock is wrong, because it's not. It's basically a space cleric.
Yeah. It's closer to White Mage than Black Mage, that's for sure.
Exactly. It's more of a space cleric.
For someone like me, that almost sounds like the same thing.
Right. Okay. So
I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not like a D&D master or something
No,
that
it's-
understands all the
So-
differences
so if
between
if
all
you're-
these minor terms.
If you're looking at your mage classes in an MMO typically, and I'm going to use the Final Fantasy scale, the white end of the spectrum, the cleric end of the spectrum, those are your healers, right? And that's what a warlock does, more for better or for worse. Now they're enhancement and healing, and that's fine.
Which
it's
is
a good.
white and green
It's
mage.
a great role. When you start moving over to the other end of the spectrum, the damage dealing magics, the black magics, your warlocks, your sorcerers, those sorts of guys, the guys that cast fireballs and ice bolts and do crazy magic spells that impact the field in a gigantic way. I don't get that feel from warlock. I get the healer feel from it right now. With a little bit of
there definitely were support
enhancement.
classes in D1. And I mean, it wasn't separated to each class. Each class had a support subclass.
Right.
No.
So they
really
weren't-
wasn't much of a support subclass, though. I'm sorry.
But yeah, the Titan bubble. You needed a Titan bubble for
Right.
weapons of light. You didn't.
Yes,
That's
but it
which is a
wasn't-
support. It's not attack. It's
Right.
supporting the rest.
But
of
it's
the team.
it's the style of support, right? Like
Yes.
a paladin, right? In a
Yes.
typical fantasy realm, is going to have
Yes.
things like shield defense type things, which is why the rally barricade really fits like
Yes.
the paladin role. The bubble fits the paladin role because you're generating a shield of protection. It's the same concept, and Titan feels like a paladin does in other games, right? Like if you're playing a tank in those games, you have those defense, you have the ability to absorb damage for your team, which is what those barricades and those
Damage
bubbles
mitigation,
do.
which is songs.
Damage mitigation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it feels like. Whereas regenerative health bar stuff is definitely a white mage clerical type thing.
Green mage with the enhancements and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
But that's the thing.
but the disparity wasn't like, it didn't feel
Yeah.
defined early on in Destiny. It is something that they have gone to better places with.
But
Your
they still
hunter-
haven't found their place, you know?
right,
They
your
still
hunter
haven't found
parlays
that.
into like an archer thief in your fantasy. It's an evasive damage dealer.
He's your assassin ranger class.
Right. Ninja class, if you really want it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of like minor evasive DPS classes in the middle that Hunter takes parts from and goes, okay, here we're a class.
Yeah.
And when you only have 3 classes, you're gonna have some of those other outside classes
you're gonna have the
homogenized
overlaps.
into one, and that's fine. That's okay. Now we have that now in D2. Now Warlock feels like the healer, and Titan feels like the tank, and your DPS, your Celestial Nighthawk user, your Orpheus rig guy. It all makes sense now. It took them 5 years to get to that. Warlock was so poorly defined in D2.
It was.
It had a better feel, and by the end of D1, it felt like it had kind of come together. But then, for whatever reason, and we can talk about this at length,
And they just-
'cause I know
Yes.
you're going to want to talk about this. D2 and its overall overhaul of the series and being a separate game and not really feeling like part of the series. It's no Mass Effect where you're going from one game and porting your character over and going into the next game and then porting your character. No, it's start fresh, and we're still using the same mechanics, we're still using the same core concepts, the same lore, the same storyline, but it's a new game. It's a brand new game. You're going to start from zero. It's a place for new players in the franchise to pick up, but at the same time, it disenfranchises the old players because where the hell did all my progress go? Well, you gave me some cool little, whether it's a banner, an icon, or some cosmetic thing to make me feel. No, I put thousands of hours into D1, and you're going to give me a sparrow?
Yeah, that is what.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, that is what pissed off so many veterans. And I'm sorry, I'm still salty about it to this day. I put over 3,000 fucking hours into this game. Okay, Destiny 1 was the biggest game I played for 3 years, And then they say, cheers, K, thanks, bye. That's all pointless now. And you can have a sparrow for all that time you
I don't even think it was
wasted
a
on our
sparrow. Honestly, I don't even think it was that. I can't
Whatever
remember.
it was,
You got. I think it was like a banner. I think that's what you got.
It was still a giant fuck you very much.
It was
Okay.
it was. Here's your time. Thank you for investing it. Please invest another $100 in this game per year. Per year. That's what they're asking for now. $100 per year. And you're gonna get whatever you get. Like just taking like and the only reason I'm even concerned about this now is because we're looking down the barrel of Destiny, which is likely because of the way that the contract is set up between Activision and Bungie, likely next year.
Yes, it will definitely be next year. It will definitely be 2019 because they can't drag this game out any longer.
So
I don't know.
No,
I honestly
I
don't think.
I don't know. I think the way that they're reinventing the series, rather than adding like they did with Osiris and like they've done with Warmind, they've added a different angle to a story. I think the way Forsaken has come in with this rolling storyline now with the Dreaming City, we still don't know where that's going. They're adding the Black Armory, but they haven't added anything in regards to that. It's its own little thing.
they have said there's not a lot of narrative to that.
The forges and stuff are going to be this Adder One character. You're going to be able to get some weapons from this. It's going to be a matchmaking activity, but they're still running this Dreaming City storyline that's still going on. We still don't know what the 15th wish is.
Right.
And I think the way that they're running it now, rather than having a complete new storyline, something like Osiris coming in and being a big disappointment, Warmind, it was okay.
Warmind was a little better.
It was a good storyline, but it was really quick. I think the way that they've set up this path for this following year, they're in a lot better stead than a lot of people want to say it is.
I think that the disparity between Osiris or Mind wasn't necessarily the narrative point of view. It was a content issue, which is, if we go back to Destiny 1, we can talk about House of Wolves and Dark Below and how that was a huge controversy. As far as like, we're expecting expansion packs and we're getting what would amount to in any other MMO as a $10 story pack.
It wasn't even
$35.
Sorry, I had the Dark Below done, waiting and ready for the raid within 2 hours. Okay, I know life that game. I was raid ready in 2 hours of sweating the hell out of that game. Okay.
Yeah.
I was done, ready to go.
And lucky for you that curve existed, because previously that curve did not.
Yeah.
When Forsaken had just dropped, the curve between 520 and 540 was abysmal, and then it just skyrockets from there. Like, I didn't understand and we'll come back around to that, but that's a different thing. When we're talking about the redemption of Destiny,
I don't even feel like it's redeemed itself.
I do.
For me, as a
I do in a lot of ways.
Player, it hasn't redeemed itself for me to warrant me to invest any money in it going forward. Okay, I have only got what I've got for this game for free. I will not spend my own hard-earned money on this. And I know you guys are fans of it, and I love you all very much.
Oh, don't you?
See it as a piece of garbage.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. All right.
I still see it as a piece of garbage and a waste of money.
I'll come. Go ahead. Go ahead,
if Destiny 2 is a waste of money, then there's only like
there's
two other games out there that you can play. Yeah, if Destiny 2 is garbage, then everything else is garbage, save for maybe one or two titles. At least that could be comparable. I mean, I'm not going to compare.
But that's the thing.
To Destiny.
But that's the thing. It's my opinion on that.
No.
I don't hold any grievances with anyone else who likes it.
We're not. Your opinion. That's fine. That's fine. What we're actually talking about is the game worth it, right? Is the game?
It's not.
From a financial point of view, like you're jaded, you're biased, and you can say yes, you are disenfranchised and you are jaded, and you would be lying to me if you said otherwise, because we've had this conversation offline, and I know that you feel begrudged to the company.
I feel like Activision have screwed Bungie time and time again.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong, but that doesn't mean that the game is inherently bad.
I remember, you know.
Yeah, but that's what Activision did when they let the reins off a bit with Forsaken, and Forsaken lived up to that hype. What a lot of people expect to happen is that they're expecting for Forsaken to carry over into the Black Armory and then to to go through to everything else. I think people need to lower the expectations a bit because it's not a brand new storyline. It's passing through.
I don't think they need to lower their expectations. I think Bungie established fair expectations with this cycle, and just from here, purely content. If you look at D2 and the two expansions that came with it, right? The two expansions that came with it, they promised narrative, they failed to deliver. They promised endgame content. In Warmind, they delivered with Escalation Protocol, but in Osiris, it was a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple.
The Infinite Forest was a joke.
It was a joke,
like
right? There should have been more. They had so much growth potential with the Infinite Forest, and they left it hanging.
Yeah,
Mercury was an abomination of a world to visit. It was boring. It was flat. It was small. It was everything about Osiris was wrong, just wrong. I was lost at that point. Warmind came back with a little bit of a vengeance. Like, all right, we've got a much better raid layer. We've got Escalation Protocol, so you have some open world endgame content. So they made steps in the right direction. The story, the narrative was a little bit better and a little easier to attach to as well. But that's such a mild thing in the background. It's just nice that, okay, we learned our lesson from Osiris. Here's something a little bit better story. And then here's endgame content for all you people who will knock out the leveling cap in a week, if that. So from there, you look at Forsaken, and I think they're doing better with Forsaken. All right, you buy your content for $40, $80 for this year. I got what feels like a brand new game, a true expansion. I got a lot of mileage out of just Forsaken, and they gave me a good narrative that's ongoing and multiple endgame content. Things like the Well, things like a brand new raid, things like the Ascendant Challenge. They added a lot to it. And that's just going, okay, we went from $100 for a year down to $80 this year for the game and the expansion and the annual pass. But we're going to give you 3 minor expansions that are going to have a set schedule that's going to come out with quality programming, good release structure. We have this roadmap that feels like it will keep you busy, and there won't be as many lull periods, because where there should be lull periods, they've put special events. Finally, that procced with them. Things like what we had with the Halloween event, that's the kind of event that people can get latched onto. And now that they're generating that content, like that was something that escalated. It was that forest, that haunted forest was a riot for like 2 weeks. I had a blast doing that. I'm a max level character, and I had fun doing a seasonal event.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with it, to be honest. I thought that the seasonal events, they're still not hitting their mark for me. Okay.
What was wrong with it, though? Honestly, it got you a quality reward that people are still using months later. That's one thing that Destiny's gotten wrong a ton of times.
I gave it a go, wasn't impressed with it, and I was like, eh.
But
so I moved on.
But you do okay, and here's why I don't understand why you don't like it, is because I watch you play Warframe, and when you do it, you're doing that one thing where you have to scale up floors, and you're just doing the same thing in the same room over and over. It's the same bloody thing, except the actual environment is a little bit more dynamic, and the monsters scale a lot faster.
Yes, because I like a challenge.
But that's what that forest provided. It was a seasonal event that it didn't matter what light level you were. You could go in and participate, which is great. That is ideal anyway. You can get a seasonal event where any skill level player can play. And then those highest tier players can go for the gusto and try and get a record and dive the deepest. That gave them something to do, a pride point.
I thought that was good. That was good of them, but it didn't hit the mark for me. I feel like it was missing something. There wasn't enough of a drive to want to go for this one freaking gun.
I will grant you that once you got the what is it, the horror story? Once you got the horror story rifle, the rest of it was basically purely for, cosmetics and nonsense. I would have liked to have seen one top tier prize at the end of that people, not so out of the way that is difficult, but something for like getting to floor 15, getting like an exotic ornament or even a legendary ornament for the ghost story would have been, or the horror story would have been awesome. something
Yeah.
a little bit more enticing there. But
it was
for the step
lacking,
that it
you know?
was, coming from previous seasonal events weren't worth my
Oh,
time.
it's hands down the best event they've done. Don't get me wrong, except for SRL. I love SRL. Big SRL
Okay.
fan. Okay, SRL always rings with me. I love it. Okay, I want that back. Okay, if they bring that back at any time, I want to play that. I love SRL, but I just don't feel like they have hit the mark yet. They haven't. They're getting close to it, and that is the closest they've got with the Halloween. But everything else is just not. They're not there. You know, close but no cigar, because it's not there. There's something missing, and they still have not hit it for me.
See, now, with the Haunted Forest, I really enjoyed that, and I think the Haunted Forest is what the Infinite Forest should have been. Once you've done the storyline for Osiris, there should have been something like that to go back and do. I think, honestly, Grim, I think because you're jaded towards the game because of everything from D1 and stuff like that, you're not going to look at it from an honest viewpoint. You're going to turn around and say, I don't like this and I don't like that because you don't like the game because of what you've experienced before.
No, this is where you're getting a little bit askew. I have no problem with Bungie. Bungie make quality games, but they are lashed to a cart that is failing them. Activision has failed them time and time and time again.
But there's nothing they can do about that. That's a 10-year contract that they're on 5th year of.
Yes, I get that.
Yeah, but with Forsaken and with the Haunted Forest, Activision have taken a back step. Yes, everyone goes on about these calls saying that Activision weren't happy with numbers, yada yada yada. Right, but when you actually look at the content that they've made now, that Activision have actually taken a backward step, it is quality content again, and Bungie are doing what they can do and what people have been saying about in Destiny 1. People who have played Destiny 1, who I play with now, even though I'm not a Destiny 1 player, have seen the upcoming snippets for the new weapons from the dark armor, for the black armor.
I don't know that stuff. I haven't seen it yet.
They're going, this looks like fun again. And again, comparisons to Galahorn and a few other weapons. And they're excited and they want to get their hands on these weapons and they want to try them in any environment. And I think people can see now that Activision have taken a backward step. I mean, even if you look at the player figures now, from where Osiris kicked in to where they are now,
they bottomed out for that.
Well, yeah, they did. It went down to 450k players across all of them, and that was PvP, and only 750,000 with PvE. We're now standing at 1.4 million for PvP and 2.5 million for PvE. The game's in a good state, and people need to realize that. Activision have taken that backward step. That you're saying that they're strapped to this horse. But they're not, because they're able to make the content that they want to. And they've said this in the VDocs that they've put out and stuff like that they're actually in control of it now. And they're putting, but
that's the point.
But now Forsaken, and this is something that you've turned around and said, like, it's a bit meh for me, and you turned around about the Haunted Forest, is it meh that there wasn't anything to it? But this is Bungie showing what they can do, and it has the fans from D1 excited again, and people playing it again.
I played it with you not too long ago, and I enjoyed the time I had with you. I thought I had a lot of fun. But the thing is, I am being completely honest with this as it stands right now, because the new stuff isn't out yet, and I will be playing the new stuff when it comes out. I will give it a go. I will be going into it with an open mind, but I'm giving you an honest opinion of what Destiny 2 is right now. I feel that they are getting back to being Bungie, but right now they were Destiny, which was attached to Activision's whatever, because they were strapped to that bad cart. Now that they are free of that bad cart, they're going to obviously go full hell for leather and probably try and redeem themselves. And I can't wait to see that. Don't get me wrong, you know. I hope that they can.
I think you've established a bit of a high bar, though. I think where you're putting it is way up here. Hear me out. All right, so no, I don't think you are. I don't think you are at all. And this is why I don't think you are, because as a player who has been burned by Bungie several times over, I bitched at Osiris. I bitched about D2. I bitched about Forsaken early on in Forsaken. I complained about that too. I complained about Wrath. The Wrath of Machine raid was fine, but the content overall, the whole SIVA virus, blah, 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 it sucked. It was a crappy narrative. It was a crappy story along with crappy gear that came along with it. The raid was good, right? They get the one thing that they have done just about every time, every single time, minus maybe 2 raids ever, is they get the raids right. And even the softer of the raids, like an Eater of Worlds, was still a lot of fun. And it still continues to be fun.
That's
it's just
what a raid is supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be.
Well, it's also supposed to have a really,
time.
really high curve. And I think with the Petra's run right now, they've about figured out where the peak of that curve is on the difficulty scale. But, but when you go from having vanilla D2 to having to go farm crazy, which is something I didn't like that they brought back in Forsaken, was having to farm, the fact that you can purchase these materials instead of having to go out and physically farm them is the one saving grace from making a fatal flaw that they made in Destiny Vanilla, because farming for materials was the most god-awful experience in any MMO I have ever played. Period.
Yes, I agree completely.
So if you're going from that in D1 Vanilla to the stuff that we have now, where
mind-numbingly repetitive.
It depends on, like, farming can be its own thing, right? Suki and I played Final Fantasy XIV. We would go out and go gathering together. It's a social experience. There is a time and a place for it. Shooters are not that place because it's not that kind of crowd. It is not that kind of crowd. So bringing that back was really off-putting to me. I wanted to see them make materials matter, which they did. In a meaningful way. You can get these materials, they help, but you can buy it so it's not so out of reach and you have to... If I'm like 20 or 50 phase glass short of an upgrade, I'll just go see Spider. If I've got to wait a day, no big deal, I'll wait.
But they have done the farming in a way...
They have, but the point is that they fixed it. They fixed that economy, and they've given us a good economy for that. Right? Masterwork cores was a problem. They fixed that. Yeah. They fixed the economy for that. Legendary shards was a problem. They fixed that. The economy finally feels balanced. Glimmer feels like it matters. Glimmer matters now. Like, it used to be like, oh, cool. Yeah. I got 100,000 Glimmer and I'm capped out and I don't even care if I spend it or not. Honestly, that's what it was for the longest time. But now, I'm out of Glimmer constantly. I'm like, okay, I've got to go buy materials so I don't have to farm. But at least I'm getting Glimmer. There's so many different avenues you can take to make sure that you're continuing to upgrade your weapons that it doesn't feel like a chore. It's just things that naturally occur through the progression of the game. That it's so much better because of that. That alone, the economy being fixed, is incredible. The drop rates and having random rolls was the correct move.
There's always a way to transfer something into something else. You don't ever end up where you're completely out of something and you have a mountain of something else, but it doesn't really matter because you can't.
You'll find a use for it.
One or the other.
Or Spider himself is a converter.
Yeah, and my worst experiences in Destiny 2 have been when they try to force you to farm an activity that is not fun. They know that nobody does lost sectors, nobody does public events anymore because after you've done them enough times, they're boring, and they're like, well, we're going to do a faction rally and force you to do that in order to get the gear that you want.
And I feel like they've done a better job.
The worst.
With lost sectors, the lost sectors were meaningless for a long time. Like after D1 and we got all of them and knocked out the achievement for I've explored all the lost sectors. When it came back with Forsaken, now it's okay. Go find this wanted guy. The wanted guys, those bounties inside of the lost sectors. That feels like a natural progression. That feels right. Like here's this evil dude in his lair. Go hunt him down and then get a reward.
Yeah, in Warmind it was the worst because you only had 3 faction rallies and you could only pick one at a time, one faction at a time. So you would have to. So in order to get to all the rewards for one faction, you had to farm lost sectors so many times to get enough tokens.
And that was
like a whole week. It's like a full-time job each week that the faction rally was out.
I mean, that's a common complaint across the board on MMOs.
Part in the faction rallies.
Yeah,
lucky you.
I wasn't. I gave the first one a go, and I was like, "Nah, I'm sorry. I don't think that this is worth my time. I could be doing other things on other games that I could feel like I've been more productive with. You know, I've got Warframe. I've got other games on other platforms that I play and I would be better spending my time playing those than doing this faction rally. And that's where I wasn't happy with that feature that they brought in, and the fact that they fixed it is hopefully a good step. You know,
No,
we'll have to see with the next stuff.
we will have to see with the next ones.
I'm going
is
in with an open
100%
mind.
for sure.
Playing, you know, I will be playing.
I think a lot of Destiny 2 and like the elephant in the room is the player base. Is that you get a good part of the player base, and then you get a lot of the player base, and then if you read stuff like Reddit, Facebook, etc., you get the players, and Bungie have been guilty of doing this, the players who moan about different things. They want this nerf, they want that nerf. And take a look at the recent one, they've nerfed the Achilles shotgun.
Right.
And like, I think they need to like take a step back from listening to all of this chat that people going, it's too powerful and stuff like that. And people need to realize that there are going to be weapons that are powerful. There are going to be things that
supposed to be
you need to do
for a reason.
that you need to do that, and they don't need to always like go, okay, you know, someone said something about this, there's been a little bit of an uproar, we need to do something about it. They need to like not act straight away, and they need to the player base needs to stop going, oh well, this is powerful, this is taking the fun of it. I know some people have said that they want to free up the middle slot so other weapons are viable. Then with
I
Black
think
Armory,
that's fair though.
weapons that are viable.
I think that's fair though.
You
Like,
would still have everything before Black Armory in the second slot would not be viable, because there's only one gun that you should use, and that's the Akela shotgun.
and that's the way it's been for a while in the game. Like,
Yeah, for too long.
yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, I don't mind if they go back, and I see you typed in the chat like DPS shouldn't be changed. I don't care if they change DPS modestly, like a small, like a tune thing. But I want multiple guns to be competitive. I want to use fusion rifles. I miss scout rifles so bad, and none of them are viable. None. I would never equip a scout rifle right now. A whole class right now is wiped out.
Still the best shotgun for that slot.
Oh yeah,
They didn't nerf it to the ground or anything. It's just
it's still. I mean, in the raid, it's actually more viable now because you know you've got to punch every 3 times, and it stops me getting knocked back. It's like, thanks very much for reminding me I've actually got to do it.
Even still, like even without trench barrel, even without trench barrel, that gun is on a DPS scale was super powerful. Even if I forgot to hit something, I still felt like I was melting something.
The point I was trying to make, though, it's not just the Achilles weapon, is that they've done it with a lot of weapons. The minute a part of the community starts to moan, they do something about it, they nerf something or they do it, and they don't really look into the balance of it, whether they should bring something up. Look at the sleeper. People were like, oh, look at the auto assist. Okay, we've dropped it down 2 rounds. That's all they did. It's still a very viable weapon in Gambit, and people are like, oh my God, it's cancer. And it's like,
but at the same time, because
you need to find good ways of balancing it and other ways to bring other weapons up, like you were saying.
Right, but now because they've done a little bit to it. Now that they've done a little bit to sleeper, I feel like if I equip my whisper, I'm not taking too much of a hit. If I want to equip, I'm drawing a blank on the twin tail fox to be more of an assist type of role, I feel like I can do that. Like, I don't feel like I'm sad. If I want to put in Borealis so I can just have a sniper still and still change over my element for whatever reason, if I need to get through some shield penetration, and I can still do that, and there's plenty of decent guns that I can use in my heavy that are fine, that are just fine, right? Like, I know that Borealis isn't going to do the damage that a sleeper is going to do, but if I'm doing match game in a Nightfall, I prefer it in a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
I think having situational guns and feeling like I'm not missing out tremendously is, I want to be able to have a huge library of guns and go, this is the one I want for this Nightfall raid. This is the one that I want. I don't want to feel like I'm always equipping the Iclos shotgun. I'm always equipping Sleeper Stimulant, and I'm always equipping Horror Story or whatever primary is like in vogue right now. Like that doesn't feel like a good game to me. That just feels like, all right, why aren't we just playing Halo? Because we're all using the same damn guns.
Yeah. What you want is an equality and a balance in the system that allows for everyone to be diverse and play the game the way they want to play. And I agree with that, because you didn't have that as much in Destiny 1. You still don't have it that much here at this point. It reached that point towards the end of Destiny 1 with King's Fall, and it's reaching that point now as they're trying to, like it's one of these things. They learn stuff, and then it's like they take the amnesia pill and they forget it all. That's what's annoying.
Yeah.
You've learned so much from your previous game. Why are you just wiping it all off the board and just ignoring it? You have learned key things, and you never carried them across. These are key things you should have carried across. Move forward with them, but innovated in a different way.
I don't disagree.
And that's what's always left me very annoyed with it. Because
I'm always ultra disappointed when they take a step back.
We were completely ignored.
And it feels to me like Bungie has taken too many steps back with this game. Like when we took Destiny 2, or we can go back all the way Dark Below. Dark Below felt like a step back. Everything kind of felt good. Rise didn't match up to Taken King, but I can't fully say that it felt like a step back. It felt like a lateral move. But then Destiny 2 happened. That felt like a step back. Then Curse of Osiris happened immediately after Destiny 2, and that was a huge step back.
Yes.
But, I mean, so as far as, like, where they're at now, like, JJ, tell me, like, is this, like, the happiest you've been with the game overall? Like, you've been playing it concurrently all the way through, minus a little bit of disenfranchisement around the very obvious Dark Below time. But is this the healthiest you've seen Destiny?
Absolutely.
Including Destiny 1?
Yes, including Destiny 1. It's far better than Destiny 1 was at any time during that. I mean, I know, like, I think the people remember, like, being wowed by stuff that happened in Taken King, but there were still problems then, but you kind of got over them because you loved the Kingsfall raid. And like once you got over the problems that it had, and a lot of them got patched, then you kind of forget about them 2 and 3 years later. But they were there, and a lot of those issues have been addressed now. Destiny 2 still has issues that a lot of people
Every
complain
game
about.
has its issues. That's the thing with playing an online game, you know? It's gonna
there's enough.
It comes down to so many different things.
Yeah, there's enough things in the game that you can play 80 hours a week and still be happy with, and just kind of avoid the parts that are still broken for.
I think that's what separates it from 1, right? The sheer amount of content for a player who has completed the storyline and is approached max level. The amount of content that we have now is better than any time before.
Oh, yes.
The diversity in content, the reward structures for these contents, the way that they... And Black Army looks to increase that the tenfold. It looks really, really solid for that purpose. Because they're going to give us things like exotic quests and these non-narrative quest lines, these lore-driven quest lines, not This is a really interesting experiment for them, because every expansion they've ever done has been a narrative-driven one. This is not so much driven by the main story. It's driven by a bunch of, here's a side story, here's this side story. We're also going to present you a new raid. That's exciting. But we have systems like Ascendant Challenge.
Enough flesh to it.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that this is where it's coming. Like they have the entire schedule, their roadmap, and their content is going to be trickled in without having huge gaps where people can get bored and move on to other games. That's the beauty of what they're doing right now.
I think one of the other things that they've done with Destiny 2 with Forsaken, the player base, there's not a lot of people who raid or have completed a raid, and they put the dungeon in the Shattered Throne. And that introduced people to raid mechanics to see whether they actually wanted to go into the raid. And I think that has helped bring more people into the raids, and has given like players like...
I would like to know if we're getting another dungeon.
Yes, apparently we are. It's the thing that's not I can't remember what it's called now. I can actually get the name of it now. But from what's been said, if I just bring this up here, bear with me. I need the roadmap again.
I hope it's not all the way in the redacted part. Like that seems like such a long way.
No. So it's to do with the forges.
Okay. Well, if we get dungeons, that would be amazing. If they could come up with like
the one thing they are is that forges are changing They're not
Yes.
like they're gonna, and that's something they should. That's the thing we're talking about with the Infinite Forest. So they could have just changed up the Infinite Forest like every month. Like there's some, they add a new mode to the, or just some new mode to it.
Yeah, just even an involving algorithm, something that just changes in a dynamic way. I don't care if it's monster spawns, boss mechanics, like having things like EP where the each boss has a different mechanic to it, slightly different. Stuff like that really goes over well with the player base, because now I'm on a schedule, but if I want to do this one thing, like which exotic was it for the catalyst? You have to hit every single one of the bosses. It gives you stuff like that is a minor thing, but it gives you something to strive for. Now because I need that catalyst for that gun, well, for that sword. If I want that catalyst for that sword, I have to encounter every Escalation Protocol boss. Stuff like that really works well with the more I don't know, like the completionist. Not even necessarily the hardcore, just the guys who want to explore it. Like, I'm not a super hardcore in the game. I just like having stuff, right? And that's a quest line that I'm not going to go fetch things. I'm doing high-end content. I'm experiencing all of the end game content, and then thus being rewarded for it. You want me to experience the content you generated. You reward me for it. You put a simple system in place in something you've already got existing. Bam! All of a sudden, you've generated free content by putting one item in the game. That's more stuff that they need to do. Things like the exotic quest are great for that. Yeah. I mean, it's great if they have a story or a narrative behind the gun, and they chase you around and you do like a little mini mission side quest deal. That's fine. Yeah. But it's a different thing to go, okay, the only way you're going to get the Wishender bow is to go into the Shattered Throne and do it this way twice. That's awesome content. I enjoyed that Wishender quest a lot.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the new dungeon is meant to be Niobe Labs, which is they have the 3 forges released before it. So there's I can't even say it right. The Volander Forge, the Gofanon Forge, then there's the Izanami Forge, and then Niobe Labs comes out after that. And I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks after the last Forge is released is when this new dungeon is meant to hit.
Okay. I mean, that's excellent. I mean, I was looking at the roadmap and I was like a little disappointed because I didn't see another dungeon, because I thought that again, generating more content, that one's every 3rd week, so it's exclusive to every 3rd week. It sets a calendar for each player, and having things like the roadmap where I know Iron Banner is going to show up at this time, I know Trials of the Nine is going to be here. I can start balancing my schedule around that gameplay. Yeah, it commits me into Destiny 2 because I feel compelled. I didn't want to do the Haunted Forest. I wanted to get my horror story and get out. Then I started playing a little bit. I'm like, man, I want to see how far we can push down. Like I felt it was that same like itch I get for battle royale games where like I want to just win a game before I go to bed. It's like I want to just get down to floor 12 before I go to bed. I need stuff like that to just drive me, even if it's self competition or if it's a leaderboard of some kind, whatever it is.
Yes,
I need that drive, and Destiny is finally giving me that.
To integrate me.
Yeah. But I mean, with the roadmap, there's a lot that, like, personally, I'm looking forward to. I mean, this whole gambit's changing and it's going to evolve. So how are they going to change that? Then they've got, like JJ said, it's just said in the chat, there's going to be a new 6-man match made activity coming as well, with the season of the Redacted.
Season of Redacted.
Look forward to.
Look forward to our top secret special thing over in June time frame, but we're not going to tell you about it probably till like March or April. I mean,
even though it's Season of the Shadow.
Here's the thing: with the topography of the gaming narrative at the moment, when you look at where Destiny sits and then what's coming out in the next, say, 6 months, do you feel that the current roadmap for the game is going to stand up to the likes of The Division, Kingdom Hearts, and Anthem?
I'm concerned about Anthem. That's the only one on that list that concerns me, at least from Destiny's point of view, because I am a player that wants to get into that new world, that exosuit. Try Anthem, because if it offers the customization options that Destiny doesn't, if my exosuit, if my exosuit makes me feel like a unique character and not a run-of-the-mill Titan like everybody else, I'm using my hammers, I'm using my melting point, blah 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 blah. There's only so much meta you can take. If I can feel like I'm a contributor to my fire team in my own custom exosuit that suits my playstyle, if that attracts me to someone who has fallen in love with Destiny again through Forsaken, and I have, everything that they've done with Forsaken after I got past that awful level curve that they started us out. Once I got past that point, I love Destiny again. But I'll tell you what, if Anthem can make me be unique, be viable,
I have lived and breathed for the last 6 months.
But it's fine. You can read all the reports, and it's just like Destiny 1. They'll completely redo the narrative. You can play the alpha. It's not even the same damn game. So none of this crap that matters before the launch. Let me rephrase. Pre-beta, I don't give a damn about a game. Not one. A single game do I care about.
I understand that.
At the beta is when I want the reports from the players, from the testers, from all of that. That's when I'm going to start taking feedback, right? That's when I want to know. But if I'm looking at a game like an Anthem and it comes out with this banging trailer and it comes up with frequent updates and they're trying to keep us in the loop and they're like, we're going to push our schedule back to accommodate your expectations, that may have shot them in the foot. Yeah. That statement alone, saying because of increased expectations of Anthem, we are delaying this game. If you fall short now, Destiny will be fine. Yeah. Destiny will be just fine.
I've been watching every single stream they've done regarding this game, and I'm sorry, shut the hell up and take my money. Okay, I have never been more hyped for a game like I have for this. Okay, the only other game that has me at this level is the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that ain't even
in a sense of anticipation. Yeah. But here's another thing to consider: if Destiny is going to continue on, right? The roadmap right now looks great. I will be
Anthem.
Well. This whole conversation.
No, they haven't. They have. When it comes
they
to
pushed it. Look, Grim. Look at it. They pushed it back because they were worried about it being in a crowded release date area. What are they hiding and what are they worried about it competing against other games if it's meant to be this great game that everyone makes out that it's meant to stand
out on its own?
Because the expectations coming out, the expectations of it coming out of E3, when you look at when you're in the marketing department of one of these large video game companies, these AAA companies, and they see that your player base is now generating expectations above and beyond what you as the developer set, they have to come back to the developers and go, hey guys, we were monitoring your social experience, and we just wanted to let you know this game's going to be popular and you better not fall flat, because marketing is speaking to sales, and sales is the one telling the developers what the hell they're doing. It doesn't matter. Yes, you can have this novel idea that all developers are in it to generate the best game, but as soon as their game gets picked up by a AAA company, that sales department and all the people associated with the financials, they're the ones who are telling you what to do. And marketing is reporting from those social media posts up to them and going, this is what the players are expecting. We need to see this. We need to meet this.
And that is why they have been doing regular streams of the game and where it is every
Releasing Anthem late is only the right move if they hit a home run, because they set themselves up for that home run.
So they have, and I'm sorry, I watched every single stream of this game to date.
Did they do a raid in the stream? Did they grind the end game in the stream?
No.
In these streams that they've been doing? Yeah, there's so much of the game you're seeing such a small part of the game. Like the Division was great gameplay up until you got to the end game.
Yeah. And the alpha that's due out this weekend is a NDA. If you have it, you can't stream it. If you stream it, forget it. Yeah. You know, I don't like it. All the other games are like, here you go, here's the alpha, here's the beta.
No. All right. So as someone who's dealt with alphas, it's a lot of alphas are that way. They're under non-disclosure.
Alphas are like 9 times.
Not all of them. Not all of them. But a lot of them. some of them, like even with us with doing Darwin Project, we were on a select list of streamers who could do it. Like they pick and choose. When you get into betas, it gets a little bit more open because they're sending out, hundreds of thousands of codes.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. But what I'm concerned about, this roadmap looks great. If this roadmap leads to another expansion, or if it leads to Destiny 3, because I think what will make or break Destiny next year, because trying to stay on topic with Destiny, will be if Anthem comes out and is hot, how are you going to respond in D3?
Exactly. That's the thing. That is how Bungie have to respond, because you've got to look. They have from say March, when Anthem comes out.
Mm-hmm. Assuming there's no pushback
June,
again.
Yeah. Again, assuming there's no pushback, they have from that time in which to scramble all fighters and get some form of workable time scale for Destiny 3. And if they don't, they're dead in the water. If they don't have something to show at E3, even if it's like Destiny 3 coming blah 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 or coming soon, and then a cool vid doc of it, if they don't come out with something like that, they're screwed.
I think the timing of the roadmap's really interesting too, because they have those 2 redacted items starting in June, and that's a couple of months after the launch of Anthem. It's almost because they said they're going to have a new activity in June. They're going to have these 2 redacted items. There's going to be a new raid. So Destiny is going to gear up post Anthem. Like they left their March through May oddly light, very oddly light.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know if it has to deal with that release schedule, but it's very odd, and then it's very heavy-handed in June. I don't know that the market, because the Destiny player base is so large, even if you, not the current player base, but the players who have played Destiny and enjoyed it over time, even disenfranchised players like you, Grim, can look at this roadmap and go, this is something to be excited about. And
I'm excited to play the new content for Destiny. I'm not going to deny it. I want to play it, and I want to have a go of it with my friends,
JJ,
both streamers and non-streamers.
What do you make of the timetable for everything?
I mean, it feels that is actually similar to the Destiny 2 first year timeline, but obviously it's scaled way up. But as far as the like how they release more stuff at the very end, it's almost like they kind of it's almost like they're giving themselves a chance to pivot a little bit towards the end. Like they don't have time to make changes to stuff coming out in March. They have time, they can make changes in June. So it's like they try to target bigger things at the second half of the year. Also, since like that's when you're trying to build up hype for whatever the next DLC is going to be. I think that's it. But it seems like they've done that. They did that the first year of Destiny 2. Like Curse of Osiris is hardly anything, and then Warmind, they put out a lot more stuff and address a lot more of the player issues. So I think that, and I don't think that we're going to see. I mean, we're going to have a whole nother DLC come out after Forsaken, and have a whole nother year before Destiny 3 comes out.
You think we're going to be on another full year after this before D3, or you think they're going to just launch whatever expansion as D3? Because with that agreement that they have between Bungie and Activision, they're supposed to jam out 4 games in this 10-year span, and we're already on year 5.
Was it 4 games or just 10 years of content?
4 title games.
I thought it was going to be 3 games.
Their original contract was 3 games across 10 years of content.
Let me double check, but I saw 4 games, and I want to make sure on that.
I've seen the same as IP, that it's 10 years and 4 titles.
Their original announcement when they signed their contract on their social media was that they had signed for 3 games across 10 years of content.
Yeah, that's what I had seen. I never seen anything about 4 games.
That was their original posting when they first announced that Bungie had signed a contract with Activision for the Destiny franchise. That's what it was. And if they've amended it afterwards, it's probably because Activision or some other company has teamed up with them to dump a butt ton more money into it to give.
I'm looking
Bungie
at the
to
contract,
play with
the
it.
actual contract, and let me see if I can pull it up. It has 4 games on the actual Activision letterhead to Bungie LLC. 4 games.
Yeah. Which is what I said one of the last times that we were talking, that it was 4 games.
Yeah, no,
I don't think that that's a possibility now, and it would be if it would hurt all parties involved to rush out 2 more games in that time frame.
It would be bad. They'd do 2 half-ass games.
Yeah,
they would have to do. They'd have to addendum or amend that contract, so it's going to be either 4 games over 10 plus years, or
I could see 4 over
3
12.
games.
I could see them doing a contract extension to 12 for that purpose. But my concern is that Bungie's being overparented by Activision. They're not going to want an extension. They're going to want to get their 4 games out. And I'm concerned that Destiny 3 or Destiny 4, one of the 2, will be pushed so hard and so fast just to get out of it. It's going to be that will be the death knell if it hasn't hit it by then.
And that's what it seems like is Activision wants sales, and that's like all they seem to.
That's all those publishers care about.
Even if getting the sales right then hurts your future sales because the game wasn't as good, because it's better to create a product that people enjoy and want to put more money into. They'll I'll gladly pay for microtransactions for stuff in a game that I love to play and don't want to put down.
Right. When I first started Destiny 2, I was spending on silver. I had no problem with it.
I don't want to pay $70 up front for content that I don't even know how good it's going to be. Like, I would rather pay $40 for the year, and then I can give you more money through microtransactions if you do a good job. But paying for $70 up front is a lot, especially after what happened with Destiny 2.
Right.
And how they kind of burned us. It's like you shouldn't ask for more money the next year.
That was something that happened to me, is I only bought Forsaken, not the annual pass, because Forsaken was Destiny's last chance with me. I felt burned from buying Destiny 2 with the annual pass altogether, and then felt forced to play Osiris and play, Warmind, and I wasn't rewarded with those experiences. So when it came time to buy Forsaken, I was like, I'll buy the expansion. I'm not buying your annual pass. Right? I don't care if I have to spend $5-10 extra dollars down the road. Show me you can do it. Show it's worth me streaming it. Show it's worth my community's time, and then I'll go from there and give you more money, or move on to Anthem or whatever game comes, Division 2, whatever it is.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing. I bought Forsaken. I didn't buy the annual pass. I got it like last week because it's like, okay, you've impressed me with Forsaken and the content
Forsaken
that's come
was
out
good.
since. I will now buy the annual pass. Will it be the same when it comes to if they do D2 Year 3? Who knows? It depends what happens over this roadmap now. Or even if it's D3 at the end
I'm
of it.
honestly open-minded about what's coming. But I'm going in with no malice, no hate. I'm going in open-minded. I got let down before. Whatever. Or under the bridge. Let's have a look, see how you've done now. That's how I'm seeing it all.
And it's a fair place if you want. If you're capable of actually starting from ground zero, that's what I had to do with Forsaken, was go, okay, you've let me down again, and this is 3 content cycles you've let me down on, because House of Wolves, Dark Below, that was absolute garbage. I felt like the end of the Rise cycle was boring AF, and then Destiny 2 cycle was trash. Forsaken, however, as an expansion was great, but so was Taken King, and so was Rise. When they came out, now we're getting into the additional content, the annual pass stuff. If this is good, if everything that they're portraying this expansion cycle, this annual pass cycle to be, ends up being what they say, this could be the highlight moment for Destiny 2, for sure. If Black Armory comes out, the quests are fun, and they have new endgame content, and everything makes sense, and they tell their lore story, not their narrative story, and it works for them, this could be the best cycle of Destiny yet. I really feel that way.
There's some of this rumored a lot, and it could explain why Destiny 1 was like year one was kind of a letdown in ways, and the Destiny 2 was a major letdown. But then the immediate content that came after was great. Was that it was already pretty much done, but Activision made them separate enough of the game that they could sell as DLCs. That's why the game doesn't feel complete when we first get it, and why Destiny 3 could fall into the same trap is that they make all this great content, but they're not allowed to release it all at one time. And then in the process of cutting it out, they lose a lot of the mechanics because they can't separate the content without the mechanic of that content. And then we end up with a very incomplete game. And then as it gets completed, it feels fantastic.
Yeah, and I think what they're doing with the roadmap is, and giving us like, okay, you're going to get this on this time and this on it sets expectations for us. That way, we don't just expect them to. And that was part of the problem with Osiris and Warmind was we expect you. This is a downloadable expansion pack. I want my content in this pack. If you're going, it's an annual pass. Here's the seasons, right? It's all on how you pitch it to us. If you go, these are seasons, and you're going to get it over this time. Okay. I accept that I'm not getting everything up front because you have set that expectation. When you go, here's an expansion pack, I'm used to going to WoW or Final Fantasy, downloading my expansion and having everything accessible right then and there. And then they will provide a roadmap of any additional content from that. But at least I felt like my expansion was worth the money I spent, and then I got more. Now Destiny is taking that approach. So here's what you're getting. This is the date you can expect it. And now you'll get more over this time frame. I think that was the right approach for them to take.
I think it's also about building that trust back, and building the bridges back to the community. Like, with Osiris and Warmind, we knew what was coming, but we didn't know, like, the rigmarole around, like, when different things were going to be. It was sort of like, boom, there's your content, thank you very much. Whereas now they're going, this is what's coming out over the year. This is when you're going to get it. Please trust us. We've tried to prove ourselves again with Forsaken. This is what we're going to offer you over this period now. Right. Just to sort of go like, please trust us again.
Right. So we're at an hour and 15. Do you guys want to wrap this up and just do final thoughts? Like, we can just do that at this point. I don't want to keep you guys a whole lot longer already at the maximum length I want to get us going. I know we could keep talking Destiny for another couple of hours, and maybe it's something we'll visit next year when we get our expansion launch or Destiny 3. I'm just leery about whether or not it's Destiny 3 based on the fact that we got a trailer for that, but we don't have a name for the next expansion. That strikes me odd. That's probably my final thought on it is just the timing of the D3 announcement and not having a name for the next expansion pack.
Yeah,
strikes me as funny.
They're going to roll straight into it.
I think so too. But Toucan, final thoughts. You're a Destiny 2 player. You're going to move into Destiny 1. What's Destiny? What is it?
It's what is it?
What is it
to you? It's a good game. To me, it's a good game. They did go off the rails a bit, but I think they've earned my trust back. Hence why I've bought the annual pass, and I'm looking forward to what's coming. So I think it's looking good. My eyes
looking positive. Future's looking good. Grim, you salty dino.
Wait on you. Coming. Personally, I've played Destiny very little up until this point since release. And at points, I would say I've put probably a maximum of, say, 18 hours into all the combined contents to date. And I'm going to go into this new stuff with an open mind. And I'm going to play it and hopefully play it with one or two of these people here and have some fun. So, but I'll go into it open-minded and I'll be honest. I'll see what I get when I get it,
You're nothing if not honest.
I'm honest to a flaw.
Truth. JJ, you sweaty tryhard.
I mean, obviously, I've loved Destiny 2, especially Forsaken, and I know I'm gonna enjoy the content that's coming up. I have no reason to expect that they're going to screw the pooch immediately after Forsaken came out, especially with all the stuff they're outlining in the roadmap. I think there's two possible reasons why they're redacting the last expansion for this year. Is it gives them some room to pivot if they need to make adjustments, and also if they put the name of what it is, they may not want to be revealing too much about what the expansion is, and if they put the name of it, you'll know something's coming that's not currently in the game, and they don't want to give that away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thoughts on that. But as far as Destiny goes, I've paid full price for a lot of AAA games that I played the campaign 100% of the game and maybe put 70 hours into it and felt like I got my money's worth. And Destiny goes like at least 10 times beyond that.
I have
so as far
never
as
had
money
a problem
being
with
worth
mileage.
it,
That's for sure.
even if I've put more money into it, I've still gotten more out of it per dollar than any other game that I've played.
I can agree with that, except for one, but that's that game ate up 11 years of my life, and if everything goes well with Destiny, I'll be playing. No, not WoW. It was Final Fantasy 11, but it's just as bad, just as addicting. And I paid for an expansion cycle every 2 years. So I've actually spent more money in Destiny in the 5 years I've been playing it than I ever did in Final Fantasy. I got thousands of days, not hours, not days, thousands of days out of that game. So, Destiny is thousands of hours, weeks, months at a time. When I grind Destiny, I play it. I get my $100 for the season within the first 2 months of playing Destiny. Like he said, tenfold over and that's in the first 2 months, because I know I sit there and I'm just pew grinding my little tail off until I have everything that I want. Then I may be over grinding, burn through the content a little bit too fast, but there's other ways, there's other avenues of finding fun in the game. Things like what JJ does with speedrunning the raids, or what we were doing with the Haunted Forest and doing the deep dives. That was a lot of fun. If they continue to offer content or stuff like that for us to kind of get excited about, I think Destiny will do well in the long run. And depending on how Forge and these new dungeons shake out, and they feel fresh, if they feel like we're getting brand new content or similar structures. Like I can't stress how much the dungeon means to me as a player. Going, oh, now I only have to get 2 of my friends to do raid tier content. That feels good. Now there's new puzzles. There's new, not just pewing the bad guys, right? We're getting new puzzles. That's stuff that will hook me in. Even after I figure the puzzle out and I can teach Toucan, JJ, both of you, I know you Sherpa the hell out of people. So as long as there's that social element to it and there's challenging content to where, all right, there's a bit of a learning curve. I remember doing Spire of Stars with Toucan, and I hit that curve hard, real hard. But I was driven to do that, and then you get into the Prestige, and then there's another curve, and you're driven. I need more pew puzzles. Exactly, Goldie. I need pew puzzles. So keep giving me pew puzzles, and I'm good. All right, guys, let's go down the line. Tell everybody where they can find you at, and we'll just... your Twitter, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Mixer channel. Give us the rundown of where people can find you, and that will be the end of this show. Toucan Gaming. Wait.
I'm over here. Hi. You'll find me Mixer and Twitter, the best place to get a hold of me. On Twitter, TroyT84, and on Mixer, it's Toucan Gaming. Much love, guys. Peace.
Grim?
I am easily found on mixer.com/GrimlockePrime, twitter.com/GrimlockePrime, or discord.gg/DinoSquad.
JJ the Machine.
You can find me on Mixer, Xbox, Twitter, Instagram. It's all JJ the Machine. My Discord be discord.me/JJ the Machine. And then Snapchat is JJ the Machine, but the last E is a 3 because some jackwagon took my name before I got on there.
About how it goes, right? There's always some.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I am Challenger Falls of Infinite Power. You've been watching Crossing the Line. You can watch us every other Monday, Mixer.com, Infinite Power. You can find us on Twitter at Infinite Power MG. You can find us on Facebook at Infinite Power Media, InfinitePowerMedia.com. Oh my God, there's so many. All right, for now, though, I'll bid you a fond farewell, and we'll do this again in 2 more weeks when I have some new guests and a new topic to stress everybody out over. Bye, guys. And we're muted.